Welcome back, everyone, to the Cancelled for Maintenance podcast. If this is your first time joining us, we are a show that takes a behind-the-scenes look into the gritty, non-glamorous life of aircraft maintenance. We share some laughs, impart some wisdom, all in hopes of giving you that split seconds relief in your day that can possibly prevent a mishap. My name is Six.
I'm MVP.
And our third co-host, Shoreline, is here again in the back, silently monitoring our audio and making sure that our faces stay fit for radio. So in our intro, we said we hope to give you that split seconds relief that can hopefully prevent a mishap. We've been noticing ourselves from the areas that we were at and other places, how mishaps have been slowly becoming more prominent. I'm not sure if it's more occurring, but the ones that do occur, it's pretty intense, right?
Yeah, they've been occurring more frequently, it seems, but also equally, what's the word I'm looking for? Equally ignored, discarded, kind of swept under the rug, not met with the intensity that it should be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Choose which one you like.
Yeah. And we're talking, so we're not talking like a dude got his fingers crushed or something like that, or a screwdriver went through a dude's forearm, which has happened. But we're talking like some serious ones, like prop strikes, both animals and people, engine ingestion.
Degloving.
Yeah, engine ingestions, both FOD and people. People falling off the top end of an aircraft, all sorts of stuff, right? Or backing the tug into a plane which freaking shatters a landing gear, all kinds of stuff like that, right?
Backing the tug into a person and the hitch smashes their leg, or actually in one instance went straight through the leg.
Ooh, yes.
Imagine a hitch for a tow bar that's on the back of a tug going straight through your thigh. That's happened, everybody, and that was only about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Fortunately, not where we were at, but we saw the aftermath and read the report.
Yeah, not a fun time, right? So it's no secret that aircraft are some of the largest, most complex pieces of machinery, like probably in human history ever, right? We use aviation for all sorts of things: traveling, transporting goods, transporting all sorts of stuff, right? So when these things run, when they run smoothly, it's smooth as ice, right? It looks chaotic, but everything in its place, everything in its appointed place of duty, right? And all this is kept up by this unspoken symphony of maintenance, of operations, pilots, all personnel play a key role in all of this working just right? And everyone has their note to play, and everyone has to play their note when they need to. It's when little things go to the wayside for whatever reason or another, it upsets the symphony, and it in turn has this waterfall effect of just sending the whole...
Turns from harmonics into a symphony of destruction.
Yes, right? And the key word, which again is no surprise, to make all of this run is safety. we can admit to amongst ourselves that safety is probably... It's one of the most critical, but also, as we said before, it's one of the most, or one of the least emphasized, right? Or taken seriously.
Yeah, well, you hear people say it, safety third.
Yeah, safe. We're not here about safe. We just want to get it done and get it moving, or get it fixed and get it moving. That's it. We kind of get complacent about all these safety measures that are around, and every safety officer out there or a safety rep, they're probably nodding their heads like, yes, absolutely. Every single time I'm beating my head against the wall because of just how unsafe everything is.
Yeah. Or how brazen people are at ignoring the safety protocols and procedures.
Yeah. And we've seen instances where people will straight up bypass safety protocols and procedures just to gain some kind of advantage in whatever it is the hell they're doing. I want to bypass safety procedures to push forward with a test. I want to bypass procedures to gain some time on this maintenance or operation or whatever the case may be. It sounds stupid. It really, realistically saying it out loud, it really is stupid. But it happens more often than we want it to. And this kind of plays into the whole human factors of things, right? Like what causes people to want to just not do them, right? You would think like something horrific like losing your fingers or worst case scenario, losing your life would be fear enough to make sure that it doesn't happen. But here we are. And I remember there was a time, or it may still happen, but I don't see it as prominent now. There was a set of issues or causes that laid out what can lead to an unsafe condition. And in most aviation individuals, we know this as the dirty dozen, right? Mm-hmm. And this one, it sounds dumb that you have to keep learning this over and over and over, annually, semi-annually, quarterly, monthly, sometimes bi-weekly about this stuff. It gets beat into your head so much. And sometimes there's a point where you regurgitate it in your sleep. But the emphasis on this, or the importance of this, is pretty much what make the difference between you walking away the same way you came in, or you walking away in a way that you'd never wanted to. As sad as that sounds. I'll brief.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, right. It's, you say, oh yeah, that's an annual recurring training. Well, look, Dirty Dozen wouldn't even exist if it wasn't a recurring issue in our industry. And not just our industry, lots of industries. But we're here for aviation, so in our industry. And yes, there's inherent dangers in everything we do. But that's where we say take that extra moment for your situational awareness, really understand what you're doing and know the, read through your maintenance manuals, right? Some of them have cautions and warning notes in there. Read those. They're there for a reason.
Yep. And so I'm just going to breeze through like the dirty dozen, which, surprise, it's 12 things. Lack of communication, distraction, lack of resources, stress, complacency, lack of teamwork, pressure, lack of awareness, lack of knowledge, fatigue, lack of assertiveness, and here's my favorite one, the norm.
The norm, yeah.
Right? So that's quite a bit, right? And it sounds like common sense shit, like communicate what you see, don't be distracted on the line or doing anything dangerous. Have the stuff that you need to do it exactly as you need to do it, right? Don't be complacent. Work as a team, etc., 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 right? But a lot of this stuff, it kind of compounds itself. It doesn't just say like, I'm going to freely choose to not work as a team today. It's usually like a breakdown of something, or it is like an overage of something negative that just compounds you into doing into other things. Like, for example, is stress, right? When you're when you're stressed the fuck out, your brain is like nowhere near in the capacity that it needs to focus to do what you need to do. And when you're stressed out, things like add up faster than they should, or things become more hazy. And another one's pressure. When you're being pressured for having such a dynamic environment, success means everything, right? If we don't make this flight, we don't get revenue. If we don't make this flight, we miss the mission. If this doesn't get installed at the right time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we spoke many episodes about this, of how pressure adds up and how, like, because of that dynamic environment, certain individuals or certain groups want you to do things to the point where it's no questions asked, right? And some will even argue that the quantity of output outweighs the quality of work.
Yeah, which I would challenge anybody who came to me with that.
Yep.
Oh,
And
no. We've output 10, we don't worry about quality because our output's 10 times over capacity. Yeah, but everything you've output is utter shit, so we're actually at 0.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or another one for pressure, just since it kind of sparked a memory in my head, is pressure against yourself, right? Like say you're brand new or you're new to a certain role or you're just that kind of person that doesn't like to fail. So you put all this added weight on yourself to make things happen, to make it happen right. So you start taking on things that are too much for you to handle. You start absorbing other people's problems so they can air quotes work better. You try to.
What's the saying? It was something back during World War II, but it was basically like all atrocities started with good intentions, right?
Yep.
And I want to tie in. Sorry to cut you off, because I want to tie into the norms real quick. You've heard us say it many times. We've always done it this way, so you've always been wrong. Then Yep. I just wanted to throw that in there. Continue on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No worries, man. And then that kind of goes together, right? So like say, like trying to save face. That's another pressure, right? Like, hey, I'm trying to do better for the shop, or I'm trying to maintain the shop status or something like that, right? Or you're trying to promote superpowers that don't exist. You know what I mean? Like I can get that.
You're trying to go Super Saiyan, but you're made of a wet blanket.
Yeah, like I can get this done in 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes, go. Like, whoa, not 10 actual minutes. And then again with the norms, right? This is how we've always done it. This is how I did it in my old shop. It's worked for us so far, right? Those are the ones that drive me absolutely insane because the norms pretty much baseline everything. And that kind of goes into the sweeping it under the rug part that MVP mentioned earlier in the episode, right? Like there was a saying I remember one inspector told me once. I can't remember exactly how it went, but it just meant it went something to the effect like when you slack off, it becomes normal. And then when slacking off becomes normal, you start slopping off on other things. And then that becomes the normal. And it just kind of waterfalls from that point on. Right. So these workplace practices, either positive or negative, it's gonna attach itself over time. And it's often under the influence of some kind of workplace culture, whatever that is, right? We get things done all the time, every time. We always volunteer for the hard stuff, retreat hell, whatever, and they can be good. Don't get me wrong. There's some stuff here, the workplace practices that are amazing. And then there's also the bad ones, which is what we were talking about, the way things are done. Unfortunately, these practices are usually like some tribal knowledge stuff. It's never anything written, or it's air quote written, but it's not practice the way that it's supposed to be. If anyone can relate to this, or like they deviate from whatever their instructions or whatever their policies say, because if we were to do these policies, it would take more time, and the more time we take, it's not going to meet the demand. So we take the worst, the less evil of the two, and then just go for the making the schedule, and then that trickles down effect as we mentioned. And yeah, not a fun time. So, but again, with these dirty dozen stuff, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and some of them are very common sense. These ones are the ones that very prominently stick out to us, and the ones that you would think would be no brainers, like lack of knowledge. Like, well, this person doesn't know how to do it. Why the fuck are they out there doing it? Well, for one, it might be because they're the only person there, right? Or they're the only person there at the time, and they don't have like that personal courage or that stoicism to draw that line that says, hey, no, I do not know what the hell I'm doing with this, or it's been a long ass time since I've done something like this. I don't feel comfortable doing whatever it is you told me to do. Or
yeah, and sometimes we're actually thrown into those situations. Yep. Thinking back to the corporate days of mine, there's many a nights I was out there doing things by myself when, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I should have probably had an extra body, but it was all hands on deck and everybody was in a different location working, right? So, you're up on a 12-foot plus ladder changing some navigational light bulb that's required for flight, and it's windy out and you're there by yourself with nobody stabilizing the ladder, and we just climb up there and we do it and we accept the risk that is our job. Yep. Doesn't mean that's right, but that's the situation we're thrown in. And you say, okay, well, where's my, we'll go grab somebody from inside the FBO to do that. I'm going to go grab some random person and do that. And any safety officer would say, yeah, that's what you would do. And when it came to the investigation, the FAA would probably tell you the same thing. However, it just is what it is. Mm-hmm. So, that's why we're emphasizing the subject of safety here, because we know it's easy to say what you should do, but we know the realities of our industry and how we work and how we're set up. And we know that many times it's going to be used. So that's why it's imperative that you act with your head on a swivel and just slow it down.
Yep.
Slow it down. I know we're all under pressure to get a rush, but the plane being ready 10 minutes late versus the plane never getting ready because you never finished it because you fell off the ladder and broke your neck and nobody found you until 6 hours later when the FBO opens in the morning, mm-hmm. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly that. Right. And another big one, I'm adding to our big ones, which is kind of already a thing, is the fatigue piece, right? Say we're doing everything right. We're doing everything we possibly could, but we've also been doing it 7 days a week, X amount of hours a day, right? That wears out over time. You start burning out, you start having issues. And with the fatigue comes the stress and all the other stuff kind of trickles in, right? And being fatigued or having some type of burnout, it makes it harder for you to perform things because you can't expect to go full gas all the time and then be pretty much running on fumes. It's just not going to happen. You start sputtering, you start forgetting things, you start making decisions that don't sound right, or you're fatigued to the point where you have just enough juice to get it done, but you kind of want to do it in the most efficient way possible, and the right way isn't exactly the most economic way, or at least in your tired brain, that is. And so, you cut corners to try to get it done as fast as you can so you can get off the line and take a break or whatever the case may be. And that can be a cause from other things, like say your diet, your sleep, your health, whatever the case may be. And all this again adds up over time. So
you want to talk about the health side of it. That's I think a pivotal subject for this as well. Mm-hmm. We always joke about surviving off of caffeine, nicotine, and hate. Mm-hmm. And yes, that's true, but that only carries you so long. And I'll put myself on blast here now. Within the last few weeks, I've had some declining health problems and problems that I didn't think I would have at my age. And now I'm forced to make life-changing alterations because you want to avoid pain, injury, or worse. Mm-hmm. So do what's right and necessary to take care of your health so you can be as focused and as possible to do your job as safely as possible. Like with, I'll just say it. I had, one of the things that popped up for me was gout. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, gout is a crystallization of the uric acid in your body, and it usually forms in the joints somewhere. Mine happened to be in my right big toe, and it made it impossible to walk. Excruciating pain, some of the worst I've ever felt. And imagine now, let's use the scenario where we're out in the flight line by ourselves in the middle of the night, and imagine gout comes on because of your poor diet and exercise routine. And let's say you're coming down the main cabin steps of whatever jet you're working on, and the pain's so excruciating, you just trip, you slip and fall, whatever you want to say it. Your leg collapses under the pain, out of sheer pain. I don't know what you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
But you could fall down and you're not able to move, or you hurt something worse. Then what? Then what do you do? Oh my gosh, I think I broke my leg or my ankle. And it's only me here. Okay, most of us have a cell phone now. We can call. But still, that's a reportable injury. Somebody's going to have to notify the carrier. And it's just a whole big mess, One of the other health issues I've had is high blood pressure.
Same here.
I woke up one morning and I stood up out of bed. I hit the wall and then fell to the ground because I had vertigo-like symptoms. And it was so bad I couldn't even stand up. I had to just lay there and get my bearings and then get up slowly. And over the course of 3 days, I thought maybe I was just getting some type of illness and it wouldn't get better. Even sitting still, if I moved my head too fast, I almost threw up. When I went to lay down in bed, if I laid down too fast, I almost threw up. I drove my truck to work, and by the time I got to work, I got out of my truck and I was so dizzy from the ride there that I threw up. So I went to the doctor again, and they said, hey, you got high blood pressure. So here I am on a medication to reduce that. And hopefully I won't be, with a lot of the other changes I made, I won't be on that for much more than another week. And, all the dizziness is gone and stuff now, but I've had to completely revamp my diet and start an exercise routine again. Do it before your body forces you to do it.
Oh, yes.
Is all I'll say, Sorry, we kind of got off on a little bit of a tangent with the health thing, but I wanted to relay real world stuff as it could apply to the safety and how you can get hurt. So imagine, okay, you're up on that 12-foot ladder, and just as my dizziness came on with me, that comes on to you. Game over, Jack. Know?
Yep. That this reminds me of a situation too, not just with health, but like self-induced health problems. You know what I mean? Like, example is like not drinking an ounce of water. It's just straight caffeine or Gatorade or something like that, right? Like just nothing, no water whatsoever. It's just all the bad shit you can possibly drink. And there was this one individual. He was a heavy-set individual, and he didn't drink an ounce of water. And it was a especially hot day, and this guy was the only one not sweating. So imagine like a heavy-set guy, and it's probably like, I don't know, like 100-some degrees outside, and he is not sweating. You might want to take yourself inside, man, because it's 100+ degrees in the air. And if you face plant, you pass out and face plant because of heat exhaustion or heat stress or heat stroke, you fall flat on that pavement. You're going to cook like an egg on a frying pan, man. And I'm sorry to say, man, like by the time we pull you off and get you somewhere safe, it might just be too much damage by the time that happens, And case in point, he really did go down. He smacked his head on the tarmac, and like, oh shit, right? Luckily, there was someone with a go-kart like vehicle around, hopped his ass in there, took him straight to an aid station, or one of those emergency shower stations that just so happened to have a first aid kit. Just start blasting this dude with water and stuff, things to cool him down with, and all the other first aid for heat stress. Called an ambulance right off the way. Like, we don't know this dude's, if the worst is behind him, right? And I can relate, especially with MVP on the dizziness, because my blood pressure, my cholesterol, my everything fucking sucks. So I'm not at that point with medication yet, but had someone not tell me to cut it the fuck out and change yourself, it'd probably be way worse than what MVP is going through right now, right? So again, with the health piece, right? Like MVP said it best, like do something about it now before your body does it for you. And how all this relates to safety is it goes back to the dirty dozen, and our intent to help you not have those situations, right? And it's, again, like we mentioned, like it can start off as something small, something simple, something that you probably just like, if I just suck it up for 10 more minutes, it'll be fine. And then it just cascades so fast. It rolls down the hill so fast. And then next thing you know, like you're face down on the pavement in 115-degree weather, not sweating or something else. Like
and I think we think, we're invisible, especially, I'm going to say this for males primarily, but I think especially in our younger part of our career, we're relatively invisible, right? And think about kids. I mean, kids will bounce off stuff all the time. They're made of rubber, and you're like, God, that looked like it hurt, but they get up and run it off because they're made of rubber still.
Yep.
and throughout our 20s, males we're nearly peak testosterone at that point in time, and we're up and down, jumping off of stuff, lifting things heavier than we should by ourselves. We're I'm going to go disconnect this high pressure hydro line real quick. No, I'm not going to run back in and get the PPE and stuff. I'll put on my safety squints. If you don't know what those are, it's when you're about to do something that you think is going to affect your eyes, so you just squint.
Yep.
You're like, if I make it so I can't really see, it can't hurt my eyes. And so again, we think we're invisible. We're all Superman in our own eyes. And eventually, the heavy hands of time catch up with you from living a hard lifestyle like that.
Yep,
absolutely. Important to take care of yourself and learn it young. And again, I was there too, and nobody can tell me nothing. I'm a young buck, and I can get out there and whatever. And look at me now. Look at me now on blood pressure medication. What a clown.
Yep. Like I'm soft as fucking pillows now, man.
Yeah, I'm overweight and on blood pressure medication. Yay me.
Yep. Right. I'm that comparative thing where like in health class when they show you an ounce of muscle and an ounce of fat, like I'm the fat now. Look at this globby mess, fucking guy.
This must be how Jabba the Hutt feels.
Yep, exactly. So, what can we do about stuff like this, right? And we talked a bit about the dirty dozen. We talked about how these lack thereof or how these dirty dozens can lead into significant incidents like degloving, falling face first on the pavement, or something major like a prop strike or engine ingestion. So like what's some of the stuff that we can do, ourselves included, to mitigate, if not severely or almost eliminate them altogether? Right. I mean, it's going to be a hazard one way or another, but with using these practices can help reduce your chances of incident like by a lot. First one, we've kind of mentioned it time and again, is effectively managing your stress, right? Whether it's personal or work life. Hey, shit's stressful, especially for us as AMTs, mechanics, and engineers. We work irregular, sporadic hours, no sleep, strenuous work, live caffeine, nicotine, and hate is what keeps the motor running in upstairs. That all compounds with the stress, the exhaustion, the fatigue, the burnout, all of it adds up over time. And then with the stress comes the pressure, and these two things, they compound each other. So finding your what am I trying to say? Like your most effective means to de-stress yourself. And sometimes that takes a little bit of discovery. Like you try video games. Okay, that worked for a little bit. Try going on long walks. Okay, that worked for a little bit. Or whatever, right?
Well, that's actually a good point. I think I think part of that is key is to keep changing whatever that is. And it keeps things sort of fresh for you too. So you're kind of always discovering maybe a new hobby of some type or some form of different, stress relief. And then, after you get through 10 different things, you kind of reflect back and say, actually, that was my favorite one. And then you go back to that for a while. And
yeah,
just keeps it different.
Like some, like again, with the discovery part, like some hobbies or some practices you never would expect would bring you some kind of relief. In my case, was painting miniature models, right? Going going full nerd mode, man. Like, for those that know me, I have zero artistic skill, absolute zero. So I don't know what sparked me to like, you know what? I want to glue some mini models together. And then as I glue them, you know what? I'm getting kind of tired of looking at it as flat gray. I mean, let's just paint it real quick. And I started looking up all these different artists of how they paint stuff and what kind of colors they use and stuff. Like, that sounds easy enough, right? And granted, it was a little bit of a money blow to kind of find the right stuff that's well within my budget, and I'm okay if I fuck this up. So once I start get going, you would think like painting small ass models or like the size of Legos is stressful. I mean, it kind of is, but it's that kind of meticulous work that's like, but it's high rewarding. Like you see the result like right away. So it's almost like our aviation jobs. It's like high stress but high reward kind of thing. So like you see the result, like this is actually pretty fun, and you just kind of play with.
And it gives your mind something to focus on instead of 10 different things at once.
Yes,
you're only focusing on that model.
Yes, and I think that's what really is, because like because it's so small, it makes you have to really dial into it. That since you're almost tunnel vision and nothing else exists, and that's kind of like the Zen mode that I'm so far discovering is the coolest thing about it. Nerd me, like, hey Henry, let's go hang out, bro.
A real engine nerd.
Engine nerd, yeah, hell yeah. What's another good practice you think there is, MVP?
Well, for me, we just did an episode on Stoicism. So for me, researching and reading on that's been calming. It's given my mind to focus on improving myself, and this would both benefit in and outside of work. But something I used to do a long time ago when I was deployed overseas is after a long day, I always read. And I read so many books while deployed. And then once I come back home, I rarely read anything. So I'm trying to get back into that, what's a subject I've found interesting. And I've kind of discovered that Stoicism. And to me, the readings on it and the philosophy of it's been intriguing. So that's kind of what's taken my attention currently. Combining that with, again, starting a exercise regimen again. But for me, it's just going on walks in the evening time. Yeah.
Speaking of reading, you know what else is a good practice? Reading the freaking safety signs. Surprise.
Reading your safety manual. Damn it.
God damn it. Right? And not just reading it, right? But understanding what it's saying. It sounds dumb, right? But here we are, right? For example, right? Like pinch hazard or hexavalent chemicals in the area, wear proper PPE. I've seen people paint with hexavalent chromium or chrome 6 for some of you guys, painting this stuff with no respirators. Now,
yeah, like why would you ever want to subject yourself? Because that stuff doesn't break down in your body.
No.
It's like ingesting carbon fiber dust. Your body can't break it down. Once it's in there, it's in there.
Oh yeah, and here they are, just like messing away at it, like they're just like spray painting a wall. I'm like, how? Why?
Yeah, or I've seen we had this bearing grease we used at one point. It was brake coat. It was like this real gray. It looked like anise but thicker.
Yeah.
And guys would just stick their fingers in there. And I always got made fun of because that is one thing I always put gloves on for when I would pack those bearings. And guys, you're not a real mechanic putting on gloves. What a sissy. And then I look on the back and I'm like, it says here in bold letters, extremely cancerous. And I'm like, why would they why would you not want to put at least gloves on for this?
Yeah. It's just no kidding, right? Or like say with avionics equipment or electronic equipment, there's a sign that says danger, electromagnetic radiation, please stand no closer than 100 feet. Or don't stand closer than 100 feet when lights flashing. I don't know what some of you think that electromagnetic radiation is, But just think of it this way: like X-rays are electromagnetic radiation, and if you get X-rayed longer than 10 seconds, you're gonna get fucked up. You know, I mean, if you're scared to be around the nuke, they're basically doing the same thing with these avionics equipment that says danger, electromagnetic radiation, right? And again, like understanding and reading and understanding what the safety signs mean. And some of these, they try to make it as basic as possible, where they color code the shit, right? Red, danger.
I'll do you even one better. We had a maintenance manager a year ago. We were doing, I believe it was open fuel cell maintenance.
Yep.
And the policy states put signs on the door, and they're magnets, right? But it says, open fuel cell maintenance and work, approved entry required, please contact so and so. And then there was red flashing lights also on the door, right? That was part of the procedure. You had lights to like, hey, if for some reason you can't read, these red flashing lights are definite indicators that you're not supposed to go in there. There's something happening.
Yep.
And on top of that, we did it one better and stationed somebody by the door to stop people from going in there.
Mm-hmm.
And this maintenance manager still went up, saw the signs, saw the flashing lights. The person standing at the door said, hey, open fuel cell maintenance, you can't go in, contact so-and-so on the radio. And that person went, yeah, but this doesn't apply to me, and goes walking in. And it's like, okay, nothing bad happened. It's just open fuel cell maintenance. But the fact of the matter is, even when you have all of your safety precautions in place, there's still ignorance and negligence, right? And we went to the guy at the door, and we're like, how did you let him in here? He's like, well, he's my boss. Like, he just told me to get wrecked, and he walked in. And so it's kind of like, holy cow.
Yeah.
So, even with all, even if you're operating as safely as possible, there is still, back to those, human factor errors.
I mean, you would think like this is some basic stuff, right? And especially they dummy proof, as MVP stated, like red flashing lights, red sign, person with a red vest stopping you at the door. I mean, these signs, like the signs especially, they're color coded for a reason. Red, bad; orange, bad; yellow, kind of bad; green, hey, this is okay; or green, safety, something, right?
Yeah, was it blue? RF radiation, radiation's happening. There's some test going on that will that'll turn your insides like it's a microwave inside a microwave oven,
Yeah, exactly. Right. And again, as MVP stated, like even with all these controls, you got to factor in that someone is going to be either ignorant enough or arrogant enough to bypass those controls. Right. And this kind of goes into another practice, which, surprise again, have open lines of communication. Right. There's classes that every aviation entity has to take. It's called like hazardous communication. Right. It's not just for the hazards like oil spills and X-rays. It's just understanding that if there's issues at hand, there's these procedures that you should and must take, and then kind of put you into that exercise of communicating issues and safety features to the rest of your teammates. Because surprise again, communication with your teammates is important no matter where and what you work on.
Right. While you're looking out for your own safety, look out for those around you too, and they should be doing the same for you.
Yeah. You see a guy like again with the one, like he's walking towards the door with red flashing lights and a red sign that says do not enter, danger. Hey guy, like what are you doing?
Yeah.
Something.
Like, right. And then yeah, it's that sorry, my vision went red thinking about that situation.
Yeah.
Because it literally came to that. Like I got a notification. I went downstairs and I was like, "Did you really go out there?" Well, yeah. I said, "But all this was in place. What did that? When you saw all that, what did you say to yourself?" I don't know. Didn't think it applied to me. The hell? What kind of arrogant, egotistical God mode are you on right now? You know?
Like open fuel cell. What are you not supposed to be breathing?
What do you think that means? Tell me
Yeah.
what you think that means.
Yeah. Right. And they even sometimes they'll even put a picture of a person inhaling fumes, and it says like a big red sign like danger, inhalation hazard or some shit. Well, you think like you're
Right.
just because you're a certain pay grade, it doesn't matter to you, right? Like you just develop like some god lung or something.
Yeah,
Right.
what are you, the emperor of mankind, and you're exempt to all that? Like,
Yeah, right. Or like you just like you'll die and then just remanifest like nothing happened. Fuck. Come on, man. Um, another good practice before we get too hot blooded with this one is use the correct tools.
wait. Are you telling me that my tug with vice grips to operate the throttle cable is not the correct tool? Is that what you're telling me right now?
Man, I maybe not.
Oh my
Right,
God. What is real anymore?
right. Or using nickels for a socket. Right.
I feel personally attacked.
Yeah, I'm attacking myself, because I've done it too. Right. Or you put a socket within a socket to turn it. Hey, I've done that. I'm not gonna lie, I've done it. Right. But I will freely admit that the situations where doing those things was either I attempt or we all die. Right. It was one of those. It wasn't like, let me just cut corners real quick. It was more like, I have to do this or we all die. So maybe not immediately, but that's kind of like the situation we were in at the time.
Or it's like, hey, I really need to get this done because people are depending on this asset to save their life.
Yes, right? Like medevac helicopters, military helicopters for all you military folks out there. Whatever the case, right? Like this being up is going to save a life. And me holding this up is endangering their lives even more, right? Yes, in hindsight 2020, we probably should not have done that, and we freely admit that too. But hey, like at that current time, the dire situation mattered way more than me. But again, using the correct tools for the job, right? A lot of us, we brag about having X amount of tools. There's some individuals who really brag about the tools they got, like $800 torque wrenches or gold plated anything, or certain colored boxes. We get it.
Yeah.
We get it. We get it. There's tools for every job, and each tool has it has a proper use, right? If the correct tools are not used, like that risks damage, that risks all sorts of shit, and that can lead to other safety issues too. Like, say for instance, using vice grip pliers as the throttle for a tug. I'm pretty sure the consequences of that. Yeah. I really got nothing on that one. That was pretty fucked up.
Yeah. There's no reason to not use the correct tool. I mean, that's a lie. There's times when you just don't have it with you, and those traveling mechanics know exactly what I'm talking about. You've got one Pelican case full of tools, and you've got to stack that with kind of your most broad spectrum of tools, or the stack it with tools that you can do the most broad spectrum of work with. Anything from an engine change to changing a light bulb, like everything in between. So there are times when you have to get creative. I get it. Peace. But if you have the ability and the option and the time, always get the right tool.
Yes, right. Because they exist for a reason, right? The right tool exists for a reason. Is to make your life easier. And if it doesn't exist, hey, we just gave you an incentive to make it happen. Maybe get some money. Hint, hint, wink.
Yeah, the good excuse is, well, I'm all the way over here, and the hangar's all the way back over there, and I don't want to walk back over there and get it. Not a valid excuse.
Nope. Absolutely.
Hey, we're in an active war zone, and we're getting shot at, and rockets are coming in, and we really need to get this up because we need this to eliminate that. And there's exceptions to the rules.
Yeah, right. But
we're not going to sit here and tell you that it's not, never do it, and we've never done it, and it's never going to happen. Look, we know it's going to happen. We've been there, we've done it, which is why we're giving these examples.
Yep. but it doesn't happen for every fucking thing, right? Like don't treat
not every job. Yeah.
right. Yeah. So please don't take it that way. Another probably one of the better ones, most ignored, is wearing the proper protection. PPE, as a lot of people call it, right? I've been notorious about this myself, right? With the squint, the safety squints. I've done that plenty of times, right? And we've heard a lot of PPE has been probably used abundantly in the past 3 years, especially with the offset of the pandemic and stuff, right? Wear proper mask, wear proper eye protection, wear gloves, etc. As MVP mentioned, like wearing gloves for using grease. It sounds
Right.
dumb.
And yeah, and you might even, your area of operation might have rubber gloves or nitrile gloves, but certain chemicals require a certain type of glove made of a certain material.
Yes.
So, like, okay, we have regular nitrile gloves, but there's one chemical work that disintegrates those gloves. And you're like, Jesus, what chemical disintegrates that? They're out there. I'm telling you.
Oh
But
yes.
but so wearing so we've been in situations where we didn't have the right gloves. So the only thing we could do is a glove is better than no glove. So we would just have people, okay, double them up, and that would give you a little bit more longer working time. But then, like every 5 to 10 minutes, swap your gloves, swap your gloves, swap your gloves.
Mm-hmm.
And we get it. Maintainers are out there and they're going, "Oh my god, it's so annoying to stop and work my glove." Well, it's that, or this disintegrates your skin and/or causes cancer over a long period of time, and that could be a grueling, painful experience. So take the time now to save time later.
Oh yes, right. And then also like not wearing certain articles of clothing, right? Like loose fitting shirts, necklaces, certain jewelry, wearing your hair a certain way.
Yeah, that's a good one. A lot of people ignore the hair side of it, but if you have long hair, good for you, male or female. Tie it up, secure it.
Yeah,
It
right.
shouldn't be flowing in the breeze.
Yep. And especially like it sounds dumb. We're like, oh, what the hell, right? It doesn't matter. Guys have longer beards and I have longer hair. I got it. Right. But depending on what you're working on, right, it might be in your best interest to tie it up, secure it up, right? Wear a hat, something, right? Keep it bundled up and together, because we've seen it where hair gets caught in stuff, hairs get sucked up into stuff, and bad things happen. Like we've seen individuals whose long hair got caught up in some rotating controls, damn near almost fucking took their head off, had their hair not just separate completely from their head. They had a bald patch, but hey, better a bald patch than a scalp. Getting pretty much a machine scalpeled.
Right.
Or
Better to look like Britney Spears in 2007 than the Headless Horseman.
yes, exactly. Or um, other stuff like say like your hair gets caught and then you get sucked into something, right? We've seen plenty of videos about that too. It's wild, right? So again, not just wearing the proper PPE, but also not wearing the certain type of articles of clothing, right? Rings,
Right.
especially.
Approach it with Murphy's Law. If it can
Yes,
happen, it will happen.
yes, right. We've all seen those safety posters too, where like some individuals are very well attached to their wedding rings, and they say like, "Well, I'm gonna keep my wedding ring on regardless," and then the wedding rings that ends up being the device to deglove you, right? What I mean,
Yeah. Where I currently work, a while ago, that happened. A ring degloved a man's finger, and that man has become the a training visual for all new hires. Don't
yeah,
become a training visual for all new hires, because what they did is they made him go at every new hire training and walk in and say, hold up his hand and say, "This is the reason you take your rings off and your jewelry when you're at work."
yep.
And so don't become a visual aid.
Oh yes, right. And it's not so much just like the embarrassment of being a visual aid; it's the fact that hey, you got fucked up, right?
Yeah, yeah, you're literally showing everybody how because you didn't do what was correct safety wise. You, as they say, uh, messed around and found out,
Mm-hmm.
and the worst case scenario happened.
Yep. And you said it the very best, MVP. Like Murphy's Law, man. If it can't happen, it will happen. So do your absolute best using these practices, and like being aware of what the dirty dozen is will significantly help you in counteracting Murphy's Law. Anything else you'd like to add on this, MVP? I think these examples have been pretty morbid enough.
Yeah, just look out for each other. Slow down, take the time, know what you're doing, know the inherent dangers of it, understand what those are, take the necessary steps to prevent them. Look out for yourself and look out for those around you.
Absolutely. And we get it. There's some areas where they try to over safe stuff. We've been there too, right? Like, I want you guys in full bomb suits or bomb style suits before you do work. But doing so makes me not do the work, right? We've been there too, right? So there's a dark side to safety as well. Hey, but hey, let us know what you think, right? What sort of stuff that we missed? What sort of things that you feel safety should really emphasize on? And hey, since I brought it up, what sort of stuff do you think safety overemphasizes? Let us know.
And what experiences have you guys had in your own shop? What safety measures do you see in place that you're like, wow, this is really helpful? It's prevented a lot of further injuries, and it's just it's not overbearing, and it's just become part of it's become the norm. The actual safety has become the norm. I'd like to know what you guys are experiencing.
Oh, absolutely. That's a good one too. But hey, let us know in the comments. Let us know on our social medias, our emails, our website, whichever is the absolute easiest for you to get a hold of us. The best way to interact with us is through our Discord via Patreon. We have all sorts of discussions like this. We get all kinds of safety images and stuff like, well, this happened, right? Or this kind of stuff would have happened, like near misses and whatnot, in our Discord. So sign up for Patreon, join us on Discord. We have all sorts of conversations like this to learn more and progress more, and hopefully, preventing more mishaps. Hey, on that note, we appreciate all of you for tuning in to us again and listening. We hope to hear back from you soon, and we'll see you all again on the next one. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
We would like to take this time to thank our patrons for supporting our show and allowing us to make episodes, maintain our gear, and create merch for all of our listeners. With special thanks to Erica Lamont, Chris Hawkins, Eric Shaw, Dan Schubert, Ryan Frushauer, Kyle Keir, Mike Sherwood, Caleb Stockhill, and Jennifer Brofer. Thank you all so much for your support and patronage. If you like our show, please support us on Patreon. You'll receive awesome perks like access to our private Discord, discounts and early access to our merch, first glimpse of our comics and other projects, and so much more. You can further support us and show off your prowess as an aircraft specialist by visiting our shop at cancelformaintenance.com. If you like classy or rugged watches, visit our affiliate Rockwell Time at rockwelltime.com. Use the code CX, the number 4MX to save 10% off your total order. If you have suggestions for the show or you'd like to be a guest on the show, send us a line on our contact us section at cancelformaintenance.com, and we'll do what we can to get both your ideas and yourself on the show. Please support us on social media like Facebook at Cancel for Maintenance, Instagram at CANX for Maintenance Podcast, or Twitter at CXMX Podcast. Please check out our new comic series on the Tapas app. Like, share, subscribe, and comment on our comics. Let us know what you think. Thank you all so much for your support and listenership, and we will catch you all next time.